All right, welcome to today's edition of the Inside Out Show, everyone. Thank you, my wonderful audience. Thank you for being here. You are amazing. Right, and Charles,
hey, how
in
you
orange.
Doing? We should call today the African special. We're an African prince.
Well,
right?
you know, I'm actually very in love with African prints. I don't think we give it enough credit that it deserves.
Yeah.
There's something about Ankara that just makes you feel special. The fact that I wear Ankara prints and come out, and the chances of me seeing someone wearing the same thing,
You know?
it's so slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make everything sound so intelligent. My God, it's just Ankara material. Jesus.
I'm a talk show host. It's my job to make everything sound
You're
intelligent.
doing fantastic. Clap for her, guys. Fantastic. Good. I want you to.
All right, everyone. Today we're discussing state policing. Recently or lately in Nigeria, we've been having a lot of political unrest, killings here and there, and everybody who feels they have a voice would reach out to the president and give out their advice. Everybody's talking about state policing. So today we are looking at state policing because we're trying to find out, what exactly is it? We need to understand it better and then find out if it is the best way to tackle the unrest and the increase in crime we have in our society. So there you have it, state policing, what we're discussing today. And this discussion starts right after the break. This is the Inside Out Show. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Just before the break, I'll introduce our topic, which is state policing. We are trying to find out, is it relevant? Is it the solution that Nigeria as a country needs to curtail the increase in crime and political unrest going on in the country? So now time to meet my panelists, starting first with Mr. Gbenga Soleki, who is Executive Director, Campaign Against Impunity and Domestic Violence, and also a security analyst. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to Blessing Kadiri Abiri, who is Program Manager, Clean Foundation. Thank you. And finally, Mr. Michael Thomas, Teacher and Assistant Secretary of Aramile Community Development Association. Thank you for being here. All right, to start this discussion, which is state policing, I'll throw the first question to you, Gbenga. What do you understand by state policing?
I think basically state police or state policing can be described as a situation where we have people, a police centered around the state or community or even the local government, where we can have adequate policing of our community, of our environment. Because when you look at what we have at the federal structure, it's so over-centralized to the extent that you don't really know, you cannot really get adequate policing. But with the state police, it is manageable, it is effective, it is efficient. But with over-centralization of policing in Nigeria, as we have today, the over-centralization does not allow the thing to work, because so many things that are supposed to have been done at the local level are also will also have to be waited for, to be approved by the central government, which hinders or also slows down policing proactiveness. So I am of the opinion that an adequate policing should be at the local level and at the state level, where we can have a very compact and highly disciplined police force.
Okay. All right. How about you, Blessing?
Well, just adding a bit to what he said, policing should start from the local level. It's a local affair where the police need to be able to work in consultation with the community you're policing. Because as a police service, you are expected to police service to the community. And in doing that, you must also take into cognizance the community priority security concerns, right? And fit that into your policing agenda. So they need to have policing coming down to the people, as against what we're already operating, where you have a federal system, which doesn't mean that you don't already have police stations within our communities. But the thing is that the structure which you have now is such that it makes all the responses slower. The timely consultation with the people is not there because everything you have to wait for feedback from the IG. When you have, right now what you have is a structure where you have about 4 commands. So it has to be from the headquarters. From the headquarters you go to the zonal command. From the zonal command you have to the state command. From state command before you come to the area command. And area command before you come to the police stations that we see around our neighborhood. So everything, even for responses, have to start from the IG and end back with the IG. So the direct police officers within our community may not have that ability to take decisions as it relates to operations and also resources immediately. Everything has to come from up. So that again really slows down responses to dealing with issues of crime.
You know what, Charles, let's go online and see what state is and then state policing.
Okay, so Wikipedia defines a state as a compulsory political organization with a centralized government that maintains a monopoly of the legitimate use of force within a certain geographical territory. And well, I saw state police, not policing.
Yeah, of course.
So state police is the police organized and maintained by states as distinguished from those of a lower subdivision, such as a city or county of the state government.
Okay, policing within a state. Right, thank you for that. So, Michael, what is your view on state policing?
I want to start this way. Don't mind my voice here anyway. Whoopi Goldberg, in a particular film, sang a song. If you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Now, that leads me to say that if you want a thing done well, do it yourself.
So in other words, do you support or not? Are you for or against state policing?
For 100%.
So what do you mean? So what do you mean by DIY? Do it yourself.
State policing, community policing.
So
this is a community. We all know ourselves in the community. The community is a small circle in such a way that A, B, C to Z knows everybody. So if you see someone that is not part of that A to Z, you know. Definitely, you cannot come to my own community if I don't smoke weed and you are my friend and you smoke weed. I will be the one to caution you because I know that there are certain laws in place that I, a bad boy, so to say, am in charge of. So if anything goes wrong, it all comes back to me.
So you're saying police yourselves, even though yes, there's a constitutional authority somewhere, but we need to police ourselves in our own small spheres.
Yes, of course.
Interesting.
So it's like, I'm trying to get it here. So you're encouraging, let's say, society vigilante. Is that what you mean? I'm trying to get you correctly here.
If you want to put it that way, yes.
Okay. Mr. Wenga, what do you think of that?
Well, I think that does not confer legitimacy. If you want to have a police, you have a police constitutionally empowered and structurally put in place where it will perform the statutory duty of protecting lives and property. We have a vigilante, most of them are just registered with CAC, which is not in consonance with our constitution or with lay down rules of engagement. So I would rather suggest that if we want to have a state, I want to say that the state police is the most ideal in a system like ours, because we have a federal structure in place today. If you have a federal structure, if I studied political science, but when you have a federal structure, 3 things are held in trust by the central government: defense, foreign affairs, and currency. So if with the state police, okay, let us use a legal example. You are bringing somebody from the other part of the country who cannot speak my mother dialect freely, you want to go and police my hood in Oshodi. Definitely, you cannot effectively police because he will not speak the language. Two, because I believe that effective communication is the major thing in policing, in effective policing. Communication is very key in what you want to police, because that is where you pass it from. Because you rely more on information gathering, surveillance, and that can only be done by the locals. I will tell you today, most of those who are joining police force in Nigeria today, as presently constituted, they are not joining it for patriotic reason. There is unemployment in the land. There is need to make money.
Okay.
Coming up next on the show.
So since, like you said, the community and the police, they are working hand in hand, what then is the need to bring the police back again to the community within the state?
We need to learn from our past mistakes, which is what is putting us where we are right now.
So are you saying the police is in check because of the vigilante that's available?
Yes, I personally cannot trust a friend who is in the Nigerian police force.
Okay, Mr. Michael, right, I'll get to you, Blessing, please.
My uncle here is saying, in the real sense, he's still supporting my vigilante thing. I wouldn't support the fact that the vigilantes should sum up to being a police kind of thing. Why? Because there won't be checks and balance anymore. Over time, we should know that the police force at the federal level has failed us and has failed us. You understand? I personally cannot trust a friend who is in the Nigerian police force. But when we are in a community, and this my uncle is caught for doing something, I am part of the security committee of that community. Personally, I will tell him, guy, please be careful. I know, because we know ourselves, so we can talk to ourselves.
Because you know yourselves within the
yes, we know ourselves, so we can talk to ourselves. And guy, be careful. If you go there, that is your own. So when they now caught you, you find out that in the Nigerian police force, it is something that is recurring. A culprit is caught yesterday, and today is out. And at the end of the day, it will come out, Kilefeshe, what can you do? At the end of the day, I just go and I come back. So at the end of the day, the ill-gotten attitude will not go away. It would keep on getting higher and higher.
In a situation where a culprit is caught in your community, and you just said something, you sent to the police station and it's released the next day, and you're saying we should implement, from what you said, a vigilante system. What, in that situation, what would the community members do to that culprit?
The vigilantes are on ground. So, for the police force, there is this kind of, they are being careful that yes, there is another kind of security personnel in place in this community. So we cannot afford to mess up. So by the time such things come up to them, they know that they have to handle it professionally.
So are you saying the police is in check because of the vigilante that's available?
Yes.
Okay, well, sadly, we don't have a police here. We wrote them, but and they would usually answer to us, but sadly, they're not here. And I mean, really cool if we're here, because we're discussing state police. I mean, we need the police here to further break down the structure and all that. But anyway, so now, Blessing, you wanted to talk earlier.
I just wanted to say that, you know, let's start from this issue of vigilante and working with the police. Now, by virtue of working with the organization which I work with, we work quite closely with the police. Now, and I can tell you that even in this Lagos, you have community vigilante groups that work effectively with Nigerian police force. This is not because of they're saying that the police are corrupt and all that. They have have the ability to now work with police in such a way that you are able to do patrols with them. If culprits are caught, they are handed over. And of course, like has been said, monitoring to see that there's a logical conclusion to the cases. But again, there's also steps where they have been taken where there's a need to sensitize everyone on your roles, what the police is there for. Like you said, the vigilante groups are not supposedly recognized by law. Constitutionally, we have only one police force, right?
Yeah.
So they are supposed to be the ones that are responsible for maintaining law and order and protecting lives and property. So if people are caught, they are handed over to the police. And so you've had successful cases of police and community vigilante groups working well together. Now, you've also had situations where there are effective community policing strategies that have been engaged with between the police and the community, whereby the police provides a platform whereby they are checked by the community. They have periodic meetings where communities come in and say, these are the things that your men are doing that we are not happy with. And then they immediately take action. And for officers, or if it's an issue where they need to go back and investigate, at the next meeting, feedbacks are given to, okay, these are the actions that were taken. So this also serves as kind of like a check from the community to the police. Now that's it, to just clear the air that it doesn't seem like there's a disconnect between communities and police. There are things actually working in line with between the community and police to address these issues of community policing that existing.
So since, like you said, the community and the police, they are working hand in hand, what then is the need to bring the police back again to the community within the state?
There is a difference because, like he stated off, you have a legal framework under which it is recognized. I think for me, I wouldn't tie it to the issue of language. I would tie it more to the issue of states wanting to have some level of control of the police to be able to deal with their peculiar issues on the spot and need immediate response, as against what we have been saying in time past. Take note, part of the reasons why you are calling for state policing is because of the challenges and constraints we found that the federal police has been having. One of which I'll begin by saying the centralized system of operations, which we have mentioned earlier. Everything has to come from the
process.
IG. Yeah. Secondly is the issue of lack of security of tenure. Now, the police IG is appointed and fired by the president, right? There's no laid down structure to say that as you're coming in, you will have 4 years tenure.
So, but if you get state policing, the DPO or the person at the top would be appointed maybe by the state government.
Which is why we are saying that we need to learn from our past mistakes, which is what is putting us where we are right now. And by learning, you need to have frameworks and structures in place that we do not make the same mistakes we are making with the federal policing system, such that you are addressing those problems, having structured legislative frameworks that will ensure that we don't go through that same problem, and you are sure that it will deal with this issue when you bring the police to the state.
Okay. This is the Inside Out Show. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, Blessing, we're continuing with you. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Coming up next on the show.
That thieves, robbers are carrying gun does not give communities the right to go and buy gun, hand it over to those who are not trained to carry it. It can be used for any purpose. So
when I mean knowing your community, it is providing a platform for engagement with your community. Because that's where you get intelligence.
One thing I know for sure is that even the state governor identifies with these vigilante groups.
Welcome back to the Inside Out Show. We're still discussing state police. Now, Blessing, don't you think that if we encourage the state police, and it's not just don't you think, a lot of people are thinking it out there when you have discussions with them, that it would encourage internal corruption and crime, like planned crime, like this is my group of people, like we speak the same language and everything, so we can commit a crime within ourselves and hide it and cover things within ourselves, unlike when it comes from the central government and you have someone who is probably in Kaduna questioning what is going on in Anambra. There is room for transparency.
Well, I think I will begin with the same question to say that you already have that same issue with the federal system, right? And so that is why you're saying if you are going to be bringing policing down to the state in terms of having state policing, of course you will have checks in place. you would need to have an oversight body that would have oversee what happens within the system. You need to have frameworks in place that will ensure for accountability and discipline in cases of things like that, misconduct and things you're mentioning. So all of these add to the frameworks. Because I will keep emphasizing the need of learning from the experiences we are having at the federal level. Okay. So that before we venture with the step of saying we are starting one, what are the issues that is making us even considering that we need state policing?
Do you think it has more advantages than the negatives?
I think so. Because another reason why I would say so is that if for the past how many years, God knows how many, that we have been practicing with the federal, and the evolving challenges, security challenges we are facing have not abated, shouldn't we be considering something other strategy to add to what we are doing so that we are not saying that we are remaining here and we keep complaining and then we are not looking for other ways to deal with the issue such that we are evolving as well. While you are having a new phase, you are also thinking of dealing with the existing challenges with the federal one you already have. But of course, looking at better ways of doing the problem, but of course within proper legislative safeguards to prevent you from having the same problem with the federal.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead?
We already have, like he said, we already have these existing vigilante groups in these communities. Now, and we're talking state police, and we want this police, to come down to our level. Don't you think there will be further rift? Because, I mean, do you really sincerely think these already existing vigilante groups will want to leave totally for these, state police?
Let me use Lagos as an example. You already have, well, let me use vigilante groups, although that's a very lawful name to use. But the idea of having these groups is because, as we all know, police has failed us in terms of providing security, and these groups are closer to the communities. They are able to respond to the security challenges immediately and all that, and then provide the needed support that the community needs, also in conflict management and prevention. Now, these people have been working, and it will interest you to even note that some of them have been in this Lagos, have also been subsumed into the new Neighborhood Watch Corps set up by the Lagos State government. So that tells you something. A review of the Lagos State law is recognizing the efforts of these groups because their efforts are to complement policing because of the shortfalls that we already seeing existing. As he said, 300,000 police officers cannot police over 180 people.
180 million.
Right? So you need support, whether we like it or not.
Okay. And yes, 300,000 is definitely not enough, not even close to enough. Mr. Michael, this is for you. What do you have to say about what she has said, considering the fact that you are completely in support of vigilantes?
You see, if you want a community or a state to be well policed, talk to the people. The people that are there. Now, something happened. I'm born and bred in Surulere. Something happened at one part of Surulere. This issue of hijacking, purses, and all that. And they called the police. They were nowhere to be found. So the people had to come down to the meeting and look at the way forward for themselves. And alas, all the youths, both professionals, all these people that do this kind of handworks and all that, they were there. And they said, okay, we have to do this thing ourselves. And before you know what's up, by 6 p.m., there is no Okada rider that can go through that axis again. As a banker, when you come back from work, you know that the next thing you're supposed to do is wear your shorts and go to the junction. And before you know it, that thing of theft was a thing of the past. It's because the people have this responsibility that whatever happens here is us. If it's a failure, it's us. If it's a success, it's us.
Okay, so now let's move on to security. A lot of times, for instance, in my village, we have the vigilante group, and you see them moving around with guns. Where do they get? They are not like you said, they're not officially recognized by the law. So who gives them the right to carry guns around to protect the people?
You have thieves that goes around with guns, and you want to secure yourself.
No. Okay, please go ahead.
Fela has said it, or is it Fela or his son? You want to kill yourself. you cannot secure yourself with something lesser than what your opposition has.
So, I don't understand. You're saying that when a thief gets a gun, it's obvious you're doing, you're robbing people, and that is just wrong by every shade. It's under the law, right? Now, here is the vigilante who is doing something good, which is protecting the people, and yet you're wielding a gun, which by the law, you don't have the right to wield it. So if the police comes in, why would they arrest you?
One thing I know for sure is that even the state governor identifies with these vigilante groups. And there is no vigilante person, one person like this, that has a gun that does not have the hand of the governor.
Okay. So that's how they operate, that's how it works.
Yes, so it's like, for this my uncle, peradventure, if he's a politician or a top man in the society, you can buy a gun and which is licensed. That is under the law. Okay. And that is what I'm sure that they are doing to the vigilante groups.
So they have their guns that are licensed?
Obviously.
Okay. Charles, let's see what's going on Facebook.
Well, right, Facebook.
Okay, would you like to say something, Mr.
Yeah, I think that's an invitation to anarchy and lawlessness.
Oh, I agree.
That is invitation to anarchy and lawlessness.
Yes.
That thieves, robbers are carrying gun does not give communities the right to go and buy gun, hand it over to those who are not trained to carry it. It can be used for any purpose. So there, we are still battling with the issue of Boko Haram, which we know politicians equip them for elections. But after the elections, it has been very difficult to retrieve the guns from them. So today, you want us to encourage us to go and buy guns and give it to those who are not trained. Then to retrieve it, who retrieves it back? Like the name suggests, they are just to they are supposed to be informants of the government, of the police. Policing. They are not just give information. They are not supposed to police because of the inadequacy or inefficiency of the police. That's why you have that's why we are talking about a vigilante now. So that's why some of us are complaining that there must be a police controlled by the state, no matter its shortcomings. We have a situation at hand that we are dealing with. We have a federal police that is not one. Does not have enough manpower. It's over centralized. It has its own shortcomings, which implies that it cannot effectively or efficiently police us. So if we are going to having a state police, definitely all those will be taken into consideration. If you are talking about abuse or being hijacked by state government, we have seen it displaying everywhere, especially during electoral period, where the state governors, they use it against their opponents. We saw what happened in Rivers in 2015, where people were killed mercilessly. So it is not a new thing. But like she said, we will have learned our lessons. But it is criminal for us not to move at all.
Now let me bring it to a typical example, right? Blessing, you talked about delay in process. That's part of why you would completely support state policing, right? It makes people, the police works right on call. They are faster without delay and all that.
And in conjunction with the community you are policing.
Okay, fantastic. Now there's a police station, a community police station, just across, like, take maybe 30, 50 steps, you get there. It is so close. Now, if there's a robbery within this area, they're just here. Nothing stops them from getting there. They don't need information or approval from DPO or Commissioner of Police, because I'm sure right here they have their own head. So for a situation like this, how does the state police help?
You see, the first step is having to know your community. And the question
I'm sure they know people around.
Do they really know? When I mean knowing your community, it is providing a platform for engagement with your community. Because that's where you get intelligence. There needs to be frequent engagement. People should, what you're saying now, if there was a regular, let's say, stakeholder meetings between the DPO or the police management in that team with the community leaders in this community, and periodically they take stock of what's happening, what are the issues, before the crime will have been committed, or at least there are signs of things that are happening. Somebody who can approach the DPO, if there was already a cordial relationship existing, to say, we have been noticing some boys gathering around here for some time and things like that, you know. And then DPO will say, okay, with that information, he goes back to his team and says, how do we deploy in restructuring our men, even if we have limited number? We are positioning 10 at this juncture. And then for some days and all that. So that also serves as a check to say you are being proactive. You know, rather than being reactive.
I'd like to believe that they're already doing that.
I believe, but how do you confirm that fact? You know, how do you confirm that fact? And that's why people feel that police, the way it is done now is that people believe that the police already know what the challenges of the community is, which most times is not the case. With the experience of the police, we've had a police force that has been militarized from when we came till now. It's such that the police has been underfunded, and I must give it to you that they have a lot of challenges. This is not because of saying one is working with them, but if you see the challenges they face in doing even the little one they are expected, of course, that is not an excuse not to do your job. But again, these challenges are the realities that they are facing. So if you engage with your community, and I have instances of police officers or DPOs who have engaged so well with their communities that communities are the ones that provide them with the needed equipment and support to do the job. Wow. Yes! I can give you an example. Before we venture into this issue of state policing, we need to have a very detailed discourse, to say, okay, these are the problems. One by one, how do we check it? So that we are not repeating the same things. Okay. And ensuring that you are making progress from where you stand from.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll hear from the audience. This is the Inside Out Show. Please stay with us.
Coming up next on the show.
We see what's happening in Kaduna State. We see the governor. If you oppose him, you can look at your shirt and say you are wearing too much black. Go and demolish his house.
Charles.
I'm sorry, there are also interclan issues where I am Igbo, but I'm from a certain clan in my state, and then you who claims to be the state police is Igbo, but from a different clan, so there are dialect clashes and stuff. Things like that. So
but in the same clan, those who are listed to the force must be able to speak 2 or 3 languages. But that was not happen again in Nigeria.
It is time. We've been discussing state policing, and now it's time to hear from my audience, hear comments, questions, and see what they have to say. Let's hear you, ma'am.
Okay, concerning state police, I think it's better we have, if we want the police to work effectively, in fact, police have disappointed us, you know, but the policing should be a responsibility of every one of us. Now, if we stay in our community, we know what happens around us. We know we can be able to, if we are giving, because most time the police are just up there. You can't even have access to the DPO. Now, the phone numbers of every police station should be given to the community so that they can be able to reach. You know, when I was living at Olodi, there was one time they caught a guy and they were about to burn that guy. I quickly called the police station, Trinity Police Station, the DPO, because I had the number, and he called. That place was not his own jurisdiction, so he has to call, and they quickly, before you know it, they responded. I was surprised actually, but that is the effectiveness of policing, you know, community policing. That's just what I want to say.
All right.
There's a incident that happened in my community like a few months ago. You know, seriously, and it was around 2 a.m. A member came to steal our community, and somebody who have the police number called the police office, and I think a policeman picked and dropped the call. You know, it was rampant, and they were shooting, and so someone had to call his uncle, who is in Abuja, to call. So that one have called Lagos State Commissioner. They have to call the First Stack. Look at it. Before they would down from First Stack from 7th Avenue come to 111, they have queued and they have stolen everything. And what is that?
Wow.
Okay, let me just make this as brief as I can. To me, I will never support state police. I have my reasons. Because whether you like it or not, it's people's life we are talking about. You are among the elites. The state police might not affect you, but will affect me. I have seen governors that are desperate to make power, to come second term, to have their way. Something happened. You can Google it and find out. Nasarawa State Governor demolished a private radio state house in 20th of May 2017 for criticizing him. He demolished it, brought that building down. We see what's happening in Kaduna State. We see the governor. If you oppose him, he can look at your shirt and say you are wearing too much black. Go and demolish his house. You are wearing too much white. I want you out of this state. You are wearing... So imagine us giving that thing, giving those state police to those governors. We are not safe. We are not safe, but even they use it for their own political misuse. Anything they feel they like, they do. So what I feel, my solution is that it's not about state police. It's about equipping our police. If we pay our police like our senators, they will do well. They will want to guide us well. When you pay senators 150 million allowances, so what do we feel like? Equip them, employ more people. Take care of their welfare. Take care of their pension. When they die, make sure their family moves well. And yeah, we have a good police. It's not about state police. Let us forget state police.
Strong views. Do you have a reaction?
Well, let me say this. The fact that few governors, okay, now today, they are using the federal police to terrorize. That's what I'm saying. So we're saying that, look, if it comes to our level, it will be people who you know. You cannot, okay, now they will use you that stay with the locality to come and demolish my house. So many things will happen. And then meanwhile, there will have been structures in place. We will have learnt our lessons from what we are operating presently. And that it will not be Mr. Governor appointing the head. There will be a commission, like the police service. Today, I know so many Nigerians don't know that there is a commission that exists to take care of the issues of the police. There is a police service commission. But because the job are not done by the commission, but rather the IG is seen as the top. So all those anomalies will have been corrected. Those things will have been put into consideration. Because when you look at the bad side of a situation, that does not mean you should not move forward. Moving forward is that we look at their remuneration, then they will not be appointed by a sole person. There will be body responsible for their appointments. They will have tenured office who says that either we perform badly or not, you have a tenured office for 4 years, but that body that appointed you can also remove you. Not that at the whims or caprices of Mr. Governor. That is what we are not going to accept.
I want to ask you a question. Quickly, very fast. You said something now that hit me. You said that's why you're saying bring it down to state policing where you know me and I know you, and I mean you know me, so I can't come and easily demolish your house or do whatever it is that he said. But you also said something about language. Yeah. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
I might be able to speak your language effectively and communicate with you, but I don't know you.
But let me even tell you, in the same climb, those who are listening to the force must be able to speak 2 or 3 languages. But that was not happen again in Nigeria, because those who are appointed are not doing it for altruistic reasons, but for the sake of the fact that there is no job outside. So you must also learn the language. What I'm saying is the language is very important, because with communication is key in security.
But if you're supporting state police, then there's no need to learn the language, because if I'm
it's just responding to what he said. That was how I said it is very. But I believe that in a situation whereby you have a state police, effective or efficient policing will be done because the communication will be freer and will flow.
Charles,
I'm sorry. There are also interclan issues where I am Igbo, but I'm from a certain clan in my state. And then you who claims to be the state police is Igbo, but from a different clan, so there are dialect clashes and stuff. Things like that. So
we're not talking about policing now. We're talking about indictment. You see, when you look at that matter you're talking about, it has most of these things are political in nature. Most of these clashes are politically sponsored. You understand? You just look at it from the periphery, but when you look at it deeply, they are politically sponsored. So if there is a crisis in Lagos today, as I was talking, if the IG says, if the governor says, Mr. Commissioner, come and rescue also, he will tell you that he has to get order from his boss in Abuja. How do police like that? What type of policing is that? When policing is supposed to be proactive, instantaneous. When call comes, you must react instantly. But they will have to wait for the
Coming up next on the show.
The only problem between us and the police is that the relationship between us and them is far.
And so it has to be a holistic approach to dealing with the problem. What are those things preventing them? Vis-a-vis having in place mechanisms that will ensure that officers who err are punished.
The police people should go into the churches and organizations, sensitize people on the need for collective policing.
What's going on? Sorry, Blessing. Let's hear what's going on online, Charles.
So we put up a post and we said, do you think having a state police is a good idea? And Jasmine says, says, yeah, it's good, but not in this present state of Nigeria where there is corruption everywhere. Even the police will be taken for granted. Chinaya says, state policing will be great because people at the grassroots can have easy access to them when the need arises. Smith says, I think so, yes. Fatima Abdullahi says, even without, I think she means state police, those in government have hijacked the federal police, and we may need squirrel holes to run into when they get state police.
Okay. All right, let's have the next comment from you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Personally, I support state policing because I feel, just like you said, to help simplify the process. You know, like you said, getting a feedback from the IG down to the commissioner if there's a crisis. I think police service is just like fire service. When there's an emergency and the process is so long, before you try to tackle that emergency, a lot of devastation would have taken place. And beyond that too, a few suggestions is that I feel that we shouldn't also scrap out the vigilante groups, because you made a statement which is very true. We have about 300,000 police people, taking care of about 180 million Nigerians. And to me, that's a ratio of 1 to 600. Now, how will one policeman, even though it has to be, unless in films that we watch in Hollywood and the Bollywood, protect 600 people? That's obviously not realistic. So, but if we involve state policing, we'll have more people joining the workforce, the police force. We also have the unemployment rate coming down. Then, like somebody said, now we'll have access to the police. You can meet them, and also we should also increase our awareness. The police people should go into the churches and organizations, sensitize people on the need for collective policing so that we can make this country safer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
My brother has just said this now. About 600 is just a community. A policeman should take care of the community. That's what you are trying to say to us now. And you asked him to work effectively. And I know after it all, I have anything to gain. Because even though my children have to face it again after I have to lose my life for a community. That's one. And you're trying to say now, we try to practice a state police in Lagos with the neighborhood watch at Lagos State that just approved. Now there's a different challenge. When you go to a community, you find someone living in Mushin, come down to Surulere to do neighborhood watch. It's not proper. You don't know me in my community. You ask someone to come and secure me from Mushin in my community. It's not proper. Something happened like some weeks ago in Surulere, a neighborhood was slaughtered because they believe he was one that gave a report to the SARS to come and raid them. They have to slaughter him. What does they have to take to that? So it's just a serious thing. We just need to know the advantage and disadvantage. Disadvantage is better, but let's take care of the disadvantage a bit well, and let's balance it well before we can move. And we should be able to know that. Firstly, the problem we'll be having with our different agencies in Nigeria, the problem is the corruption. We need to tackle that first before any other thing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Actually, there was a time when I had an emergency at home. So I dialed the emergency number. The only thing I could hear was music. It was music. Honestly, it was very drastic at home. We had to wait for the situation to calm down before we could do anything. So how can we add to that?
I think you should talk to them.
That's operational. That's operational. Yeah. And you see, actually, because we work closely with Lagos State government, these complaints keep coming, and they keep assuring us that they are improving. Even on even recently, we see lodge a complaint over that. But I think even if, like somebody mentioned, if the police at the local level are be responsive and responsible, you don't need to call 9767. You will have known the number of those in your locality here, instead of you dialing 767, you could have dialed the number of the police station around you. But because it's not working, that's why you have to go and dial that one at the state secretariat.
I think sometimes as well, let's be fair, right? When you call a number that is a hotline, right? I don't know if you do a lot of customer service calls and all of that. Sometimes they could be on another call and then it's on voicemail or they're putting you on hold because they're attending to somebody else. Let's give room for reason or something for other people. That's just what I feel. So,
yeah, but also to add to that, the CP Lagos recently put out a list of about 10 or thereabout numbers that people can call, because he's also trying to initiate a new program which is called this Know Your Neighbor something. So I think people can also take advantage of that because this CP seems quite proactive, you know, and so let's engage them and let us know whether they're actually working. So that's the call I want to put out.
Okay. Thank you.
I support the view that I support state policing, because even America as a whole, they also practice state policing, if I'm correct. So the only thing I see contributing is that the problem is not about the state policing. The problem is not about having vigilante. One thing is that for every great nation or every great country, I believe there is understanding. If the police should understand us as citizens, if they understand us, if you have that close relationship, the only problem between us and the police is that the relationship between us and them is far. So if you can create the relationship between us and the police, I believe that even whether we have the federal or there's no state, we'll go far. So I believe if there's any way government can create a policy or create a public affair or create something that can always make the police and citizens to always have a close communal relationship, I'm sure that all the challenges.
All right, thank you. And I also think that, yes, the police in my estate, there is a police, and what I'm about to say, I'm also guilty of it. But sometimes the police naturally feels that the average Nigerian does not care about them. They're indifferent about them, which is true. Now, how do we change it? You want the police to bond with you, but you're not making effort to return the bonding. It's not going to work. Bonding is a mutual effort.
Which is why you need to provide the platform for two of you to engage. That's the same thing he's been saying. Because we as citizens, we already have a mindset. Some people have never entered the police station before, right? Not that anything has happened to them, but they already have the ideas that, okay, I have my brother, my sister, and you already have a fixed position, right? But if you get an opportunity to say, I am walking into a police station, or I have an access to a police station, and you see the conditions, and also remind you, the police themselves, because of the nature of structure of institution with the practice, they cannot come and publicly complain that these are the issues they are having. Their complaints can only be passed out by those of us sitting here, because you know the challenges they face, right? In doing within the limited framework, they have to do so many things. So we have the voice. We have the voice as citizens to say, okay, these are the challenges. We are expecting somebody to police us. There are no something to work. How the environment or the system is already allowing for the corruption. Do you understand? Not that, again, not supporting them, but the system is such already bad that we need to begin to look at all those other issues that are affecting them not to provide us the optimal service delivery which we demand, right? And so it has to be a holistic approach to dealing with the problem. What are those things preventing them? Vis-a-vis having in place mechanisms that will ensure that officers who err are punished. I'm sure, just like he said, you will see the different change if you also have an opportunity of engaging frequently, which necessarily doesn't have to be within the police station. Because communication and engagement is what brings the understanding.
Absolutely. Right.
So it's important.
Okay. So on this note, I'm going to get your final thoughts about this topic, state police. Michael.
Well, it's very simple. Let us remove police from policing. This is my community. Want to guard yourself? Let's assume that the police is not there. Won't you police yourself?
Jungle justice, that is the society policing themselves. Are you aware?
No.
It's not? How?
We've had this, not the vigilante kind of thing, but a communal a security committee in my community that comprises, whether you are a professional, an artisan, or even the bad boy in quotes, everybody is in that committee in such a way that everybody has a responsibility of securing our lives and our properties. That is depending on us.
It's an open debate. All right, Blessing, let's hear from you, your final thought.
For me, I think it's a discourse that needs to move beyond the for and against to taking more concrete steps to achieving, realizing the objective. And of course, in doing that, taking into cognizance the fears and concerns from both sides, which would help us to properly dissect how we want to go about it and what needs to be in place to ensure that we are not reinventing the problems that we are seeing existing in the federal system before we take that bold step of starting it.
Okay, thank you. And Benga.
Well, basically, I think it's a welcome development that we all need to embrace, no matter its shortcomings, because it is more efficient and more effective. And once we are looking at, when we are looking at the disadvantage against the advantage, we will not move forward. So, like she has said, we must move away from discussing it. Actually, actualizing it should be our concern as a people, if truly we want a crime-free or a less crime-free society. So that when we want to move forward from the present state of inefficiency to a state of efficiency, we need to start moving, we need to start putting in place practical steps into achieving that.
Okay, thank you very much. Charles?
I think policing is a communal effort. Everybody needs to get involved in it, for us to actualize, a perfect result. It can never be perfect, but of course, if we do our best,
we can get close to it.
We can at least get close to it.
Okay. For me, I think Nigerians are so desperate for change that we're willing to consider anything. Personal opinion. State policing may not really fly, because I think Nigeria is 180 million. Yes, it's a lot of people, but I'm sure that, I think Marvelous said it, if we could pay this policemen more, take care of them, act like they're like our guardians, they are the executive arm of government, they are extremely relevant to us, right? So if you're paying a senator that much amount, and then the policeman, who is obviously guarding the senator as well, is earning 40,000 naira as his salary, you're not going to get the best of him, because he's not just a policeman, he has a family he takes care of. So this is where we call it a wrap on today's edition of the Inside Out Show. I hope we're able to get you thinking, because that's the essence of this show. We're able to get you thinking and start this conversation. We intend to sensitize people to use their brain, look at things from different other angles, basically. So thank you, Dijara Bu, thank you, Beauty by Omalicha, KGM, Aquadana Industries, Nigeria Limited, Deli Foods, Baker's World, Funky B&T, Smart Chops. Thank you so much for being partners with us on this show. And don't forget to go to our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's The Inside Out Show. And follow us on YouTube, subscribe, and watch previous episodes. That's The Inside Out Show, basically. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. See you at the next one. God bless you. Bye.